Hey, what's going on there, folks? Welcome back here to another update on this Wednesday night. It is the Earthmaster here on this end, February 21st, 2024. It's about 10 o'clock in the PM out here, California time. Latest activity shows a 2.5 earthquake, along with a couple other earthquakes out here along the west coast. All this activity kind of stirring up there following some X-flare activity. We haven't seen any major earthquake movement following this decent flare, which was right there. Earlier, an X 1.9. That's going to be ranking at, a tie for number 8 there in terms of the solar flare energy. Pretty decent, strong flare. And again, that coming in earlier from a massive sunspot region right here. Let me slow that down a little bit and show you guys the dynamics. We're just going to cut it just a little bit and show you guys here. Watch this X flare, and subsequently there'll be a flare popping off down here as well. Boom, you guys see that? So let me put this right back up here. X flare and then a M flare following that event. Watch. Boom, boom. So we do have a couple different areas that we're watching out here on the sun. 3590, obviously a very large sunspot region. I chatted about that this morning. It is looking quite complex. It is growing in complexity and in size, and that will remain a threat for some stronger flares as well as we head into the days ahead. This sunspot region will be facing the Earth here in the coming days. There was no CME that was associated with that X flare earlier, just a very impulsive event. Now that large M flare that peaked up following that X flare from a sunspot region, I believe down here we just barely got a little glimpse of the magnetic field of that sunspot region, so we'll check on that tomorrow morning. The elevated threat level continues here. 25% chance for an X flare, C flare at 99, and of course M flare around 50% chance. And again, there's that X flare peaking out at about 1.9, subsequent M flare following that event. And right now we're just kind of going down, but we'll continue to watch that for some stronger flaring coming up here. Maybe we can get a decent CME Earth directed and see some auroras out here. We'll continue to watch that. All right, a little bit of activity stirring up following that X flare. Seen an earthquake pop off here, just off and just shy of the Cascadia subduction zone, a 2.8 coming in here. Don't want to see anything up along here, right? This has obviously been building up some energy since about 1700, since the last time we've seen a full rupture of a 9.0 or potentially larger out there. Eventually it's coming. It's inevitable. It will happen. The question is when. The question is it going to be following a large flare or a large CME impact? We'll have to watch that. Either way, 2.8 coming off the Cascadia subduction zone earlier, following that X flare. Now, the tremor map out here. Let me bring this up. This is today's tremor. We've seen 173 epicenters of tremor down into the Cascadia, and a little bit here at the southern end. That's where it's confined. Not a whole lot, but I believe that the earthquake activity, or at least the tremor activity we're seeing downstream, is building up, obviously, some strain, and that earthquake that struck is just literally just upstream here from this tremor activity. So we'll continue to watch that, building up some energy, no doubt. So looking at the west coast here, definitely shows some a little bit more active activity out here throughout the day. 2.6 south of the border. We're seeing a handful of earthquakes out here throughout Southern California, and more on a broader scale across the entire area. As you can see up and down the plate boundary here, the San Andreas Fault, through the San Jacinto Fault Zone, and specifically right around the Garlock Fault Shear Zone. Seeing some movement just north and south of that area. So kind of keep an eye on the west coast here tonight. It does look like things are picking up in terms of the multitude of quakes. Aside from that, the rest of the country out here looks pretty quiet, fairly decently quiet. Up here in Alaska, looks like a little bit of swarming going on here across the Cook Inlet area just north. Did see a 4.0 earlier this morning, but most of this activity here, as active as it looks, is generally light earthquakes, a microquake movement. There in Hawaii, A little bit of activity scattered out and about the Big Island. I don't think we've seen anything major going on out here today. Where did my... Well, I guess I'll have to key this back up here. I thought I had a window open up here, but maybe I didn't. In terms of the Kilauea volcano, we'll check out some seismograph stations here, see what's going on tonight out in the area. Seismograph stations here look fairly quiet. It's... There we go. Now it wants to work. Looks fairly quiet in terms of earthquake activity. Not a whole lot going on here throughout the area. And that's just been kind of an odd stage here, I guess, because all that displacement of magma that we've seen here recently from the summit off to the southwest rift zone, it's just weird. We haven't really seen any major elevated earthquake activity around the summit. Not a whole lot of inflation going on. A look at the map here, at least on the UWE station up here, does show some slight inflation, but this is very minimal compared to what we had seen, prior to this displacement of magma back in the months past this event here. Back in, technically the 1st of February, we've seen that huge displacement of magma. That's a huge drop here on the 30-day chart compared to, obviously, these little events that we've seen since then. This is nothing. So a lot of magma has disappeared from the summit region, sitting off here across the southwest rift zone and potentially further out here. So just kind of watching it, seeing how things play out. But right now, all the seismograph stations there look fairly quiet across the area. Glance here at Yellowstone National Park, super volcano. I do like to double check that, just because it's a super volcano, right? Not a whole lot going on in terms of earthquake activity. Some very small microquakes there throughout the park, but generally fairly quiet there at Yellowstone National Park. The rest of the world here, hopefully I'll be able to keep my voice. I think I caught whatever Missy Mimi's had. Let's see, most recent movement here shows a 5.4 here outside of the Papua New Guinea area. A couple other earthquakes in here as well. There's a fairly deep one right here across the Java Sea underneath this area, 600 kilometers deep. And obviously that showed up there on the Earthquake 3D globe, that ring raised way off the globe here, indicating a very deep earthquake, 5.1. So we'll continue to watch areas upstream here from that deeper movement. This is a major subduction zone, and accumulated slip rate out there ranges anywhere from 60 to 70 mm per year, depending on where this is at. But yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of time for earthquake stress to build out here in this region, and of course those deeper earthquakes do contribute to strain at the surface level, so we'll continue to watch that. Across this area of the world, four-pointer in Iraq. Aside from that, a handful of smaller earthquakes out there in the Mediterranean. I think we've seen that there on the globe. But literally not a whole lot going on out there right now. The Atlantic Ocean looks like a 2.8 up in Iceland. Let's see if I can spit that out correctly. Let's go check out the Iceland activity, see if we got any further movement going on. About 23 earthquakes here in the last 12 hours. Still not looking at anything elevated going on. We're still seeing some inflation going on here underneath the Svartsengi area over here outside of Grindavik, but really nothing yet that would lead me to believe that we're looking at an impending or an immediate eruption there across the area. Look at the Svartsengi area GPS and inflation here. Still shows continued uptick here in inflation. They're talking about maybe by the end of this month or maybe first week or so of March we could see another eruptive event there in the Iceland area outside of Grindavik, but then again it could be around the Grindavik area as well, so we'll continue to watch that. But right now, like I say, there's not a whole lot of earthquake activity that would lead me to believe that things are going to happen here soon. Once we see that elevated earthquake activity, then obviously it's just a matter of days, hours, and whatnot. All right, let's see what else we got here. Down here across the Tonga area, doesn't look like we've seen anything else over the afternoon. New Zealand down here looks like a little earthquake, 3-pointer it looks like, I believe. Stirring up down here. Off the coast there of North Island. We'll go check out some of these earthquakes here across the New Zealand Quakes site, which is nzquakes.com. Looks like the latest earthquake here going to be a 2.7 earthquake. And the largest, at least the largest magnitude in this area, 5.1 within the last 24 hours. So really not, you know, what's this one here? That's a 2.7, the latest one, and this other earthquake, the largest one up there along the Kermadec Trench. But either way, definitely does look like there's some, you know, a little bit of activity out here across the region. I don't think there's a whole lot of swarming going on in terms of specific areas. We'll check out some of these volcano drums here, see what's going on here real quick. Taupo super volcano, fairly quiet. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on here across the drums there for now in terms of volcanic activity. Let's see what else we got. All right, yeah. So you know, again, a lot of folks wondering if we're going to see elevated earthquake activity following this X-flare event, and it's possible. We kicked it all off, you know, the first of the year with a decent X-flare, and then we've seen that large 7-pointer kick off here shortly thereafter across Japan. We haven't seen any large earthquake activity, but I have noticed, you know, a little bit of elevated activity. So we'll see if things don't get, you know, further active overnight. The Storm Prediction Center out here, not a whole lot of severe weather threat out here. Let's check out some weather models and see what's going on here. We're going to back out and check out a broader view of North America out here. This will kind of give us a good indicator of what's going on. We're going to check out some jet stream patterns out here and see what's really shaping up the month of March here soon. Now, there is a little change coming in here from this upper level pattern. Look at this jet stream coming down straight from Alaska through Oregon and into Northern California. That's going to bring some colder air out here. But look at this subtropical jet streaming into Southern California and across areas of the South. This could play a major part in producing some weather out there. But there is a lot of colder air coming in with that northern jet. And of course, it looks like they're going to collide as we head into the end of February. So this is something to watch pretty closely. Wow, look at that. Either way, you know, spring is almost in the air, and I think it's important to be prepared for some severe weather out here as we head into the months ahead. I look at the precipitation out here. Hold on a second here. Let me go back just to the western U.S. I want to check out some of this stuff here. So right now, right about here, I do have a kind of a cutoff low off the coast here of California that will, it doesn't really look like it wants to affect the west coast. Maybe a little bit later into early next week, I could see some rain, but here's some of that colder pattern coming down from the north. Going to bring with it quite a bit of snow into the mountain ranges and maybe some low elevation snow there across Oregon as well. Not a whole lot of rain for California, but it's right here where it looks like maybe the first couple days there of March we start to notice that wetter pattern change with some more moisture coming in here to the west coast. And these look like a couple dandy of a few storms out here. Looking at the accumulated precipitation runs out here does show quite a bit of moisture out here. For California, we are definitely not in a drought whatsoever. Nowhere in the state are we in a drought. I know up in Oregon and whatnot, they might have some drought issues, but we have quite a few more inches of rainfall coming in with these storm systems, which is, you know, that's good news. I'll take all the rain we can get before it gets 120, which well, maybe not 120 out here. Here's the drought intensity currently. Not a whole lot going on out here. A whole bunch of improvement here throughout the winter across the plains states. I'm surprised these guys aren't out of the drought. They had a lot of rain out here recently, so moisture anomaly out here. Obviously, we've had a lot of rain throughout the California area, showing very saturated grounds out here. We just picked up 1/10 of an inch of rain today, and everything was already starting to flood at the surface levels, as far as standing water goes. So things are, the soil moisture out here is high. And that's good news, though, right? Keeps the drought away. As far as at the surface, a little bit deeper down, obviously, we're still seeing that wetness there underneath the area. And same with the soil moisture there. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, looks like up in Canada they have a whole bunch of drought going on up there. Goodness. All right, folks, let's see what else is there. I think that's about it. Any magic buoys out here in event mode? Is this even working? That's kind of weird. Yeah, nothing really going in event mode out here. Except for one down here off New Zealand. What do we got out here? A very small displacement going on there. Not for sure what that is. Yeah, just like a little blip here. Nothing big at all, but maybe a seagull or who knows what landed out there. Sometimes, wildlife and whatnot, ocean wildlife that is, could affect the buoys out there. But, that's I've seen it happen before out there a time or two across other buoys. I was checking out this asteroid here. It's a very interesting event. I'm sure you guys heard about it. Apophis scheduled to travel very close here to the Earth in 2029. There was a decent chance of this thing hitting us. It was kind of up there on the Torino scale there. Can't remember which category it was, but they've apparently ruled out any collision at all from this asteroid. But I was just kind of looking at these charts here, and that's a ways in the future. Who knows? Really, who knows what... let me see here. There we go. Who knows if there's been any, gravitational adjustment with this asteroid. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens in 2029, right? But for now, everything's, hunky-dory, and it's just not going to hit us. It's going to pass very close, though, within the satellite range. So definitely between the Earth and the Moon, and again, within the satellite ranges there, up in the upper levels there above the Earth. So we'll have to watch it. I mean, I remember hearing about this in school. I think it was back in school, but I've studied this for a while, even when it was a potential impact event. But yeah, very interesting though. We'll have to cover that in another video, just to look at some specs from that. There's a whole lot of information on it. We can now remove Apophis from the risk list, according to the professionals. All right, folks, I'm out of here. I'm just kind of blabbering on, a little on the tired side. I don't know, I've been feeling kind of tired today, and again, I think it's something going on there, catching whatever Missy Mimi's had. All right, folks, have a good night. Tomorrow, Thursday, at least my Thursday. It's probably already Thursday where quite a few folks are, but we'll catch you guys back out here tomorrow morning for an update, unless something major happens overnight. Take care, stay safe out there, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow.